Hi guys, welcome back to, I guess this is part 2 now, of our mystery build. Today we're going to cover the track. I've done something similar to this in a previous build. I want to say it was around episode 4-ish, 4 or 5, somewhere in there, of the triple module, part 2, or 2.0. And what I want to cover today isn't so much the putting the track on, although we might do that. I'll have to see how we are on time wise. But I want to show you again in this particular segment how it is I do my homemade power drop. Okay, um, just a quick recap, and I know this is going to sound like, okay, here he goes again. But for those of you tuning in the first time on my channel and not see me do this before, how this works is, let me get this up here a little bit higher, it's out of the way. Okay, well, how about we turn it off? There we go. I'm darker. Well, let's try this. Okay, so how this works is you have, okay, let's just say you have two tracks, okay? I'll put it down here. And they go, we'll do it like this. This works better. Okay, so this is your module. Okay, let's put it back here. Okay, so we have your module has two tracks. Okay, so we're going to say that this is your inside track and this is your outside track. So your outside track, if you go to a show, okay, 9 times out of 10 is going to be DCC, okay, and that's digital command control for those who don't know what that is. Your inner track, okay, majority of the time is going to be for the guys who run DC, okay. The old school, I don't have a chip in my locomotive decoder, and that's fine. It doesn't matter. Not everybody has DCC and N scale, which I thought was kind of interesting, but hey, it's fine. It's, do your own thing. But at any rate, I don't draw power for my module from the DC part, because let's face it, your power isn't constant. Okay, so you've got times where it's running, say out of 15 volts it's running at, say, 7 or 8, and other times it's not running at all. So whatever you have powered on a DC, if you're taking power from the DC side, yes, it's convenient, you don't have to convert anything, but your power is going to fluctuate and you may get too much power or no power. So that's why I take from the DCC side, which would, down here, the outside rail. I take from the DCC side because that's a constant voltage. There's always power. It's always the same. I mean, yeah, it may fluctuate a little bit, I don't know, half a volt either way, but it's normally, and I've seen it on my HO layout because I have a little window that tells me exactly what's going on, how many volts and how much power the track is drawing. But it's constantly putting out about 15 to 16 volts AC. Okay, and the little DCC chip converts that back to DC power and powers the locomotive and all the little gizmos inside it. So that's why I take it off the DCC rail. It makes it a little more of a challenge, but I have found a way to get around that, to convert it back to a DC voltage and the step down DC voltage from a company called We Honest. Yes, it's out of China, but you can find local distributors stateside that you will get here faster. Otherwise, you're waiting 2-3 weeks or more for a package to come in the mail from China. So, with that being said, what I'm doing is I'm making a power drop. Now today, for this module, I do not have solid plans made for this, and I've done this on a different module too, where I put a power drop in that I haven't used yet, but in the future, if something comes about, or if I change my plans on the module, which I will show you, by the way. So in our last episode, we had built this module. Let me see if I can get it on here. And now it is painted. Now this is just primer on the top. Let me spin it around here so you can see it. Okay, so this is just gray primer, and this is our exterior color. You see there's Klawndyke, because this is where it came from. And I did paint the sides. Obviously this doesn't, well, this end doesn't really matter because nobody's going to see it. But, and then here's the back, okay, which of course, you know, the whole thing is painted that way. And let me see, there, now you can see that's where the painter's tape came over the side. And like I said, I'm not real concerned with that, just for the fact that you're not going to see it once it's, you know, because you're going to come in, turn it this way. You're going to come in, there's going to be a module on this side, module on this side. The audience is going to see this end, and if they go around and there's no backdrop on this, which I don't know, maybe not, they'll at least see something painted, okay? And it didn't turn out bad. I think it turned out pretty nice color-wise. But anyway, so like this is your outer rail and your inner rail, and the way this will work now, if you don't want to do or don't have the capabilities of soldering or soldering well, you can use from Kato. They make their own power drop, okay, and you can either use it to power the track, or you can use it to take from the track, or, well, it will to power the track. You would come through the hole here, and they, like I said, they make these little. It's a pair of rail joiners. Let me see if I have one. Yep, here they are. Okay, so it's these little itsy bitsy rail joiners, and they're pre-wired underneath, and you just drop the adapter down through this hole that Klawndyke was kind enough to make already, and the plug goes down through here, and then you would feed it out the back end and come out that square, and that's where you would hook it up to the next track, or to the power bus if you're at a running at a club or a meet or something. But these are made, and you can see these are offset. So you got your 0 to 0 track here, which is 126 or 24. I'm sorry. Okay, I always get it mixed up. So that's 126 millimeter here, and then this one is the 010, which is 186. Right? Yes. Okay. So they would connect up here, and of course that connects up right underneath that hole. And we'll go over all this for alignment and stuff like that at a later time. If it's today, it's today. If it's not, it's not. But that's how this goes together. And obviously it does the opposite over here, where your 0 to 0 is here and your 010 is on this side. So this is a total of 310 millimeters from side to side. of track. Okay, the module, which I haven't been able to measure because I don't have a N scale ruler in millimeters that goes that far, but it's in theory 308, so you have a millimeter on either side that helps connect it to the next module. Okay, so that's how all that stuff works. So we'll take this, we'll set it aside. So we've talked a little bit about that. So now we're going to do our own connector, which is, like I said, is going to take the place of that Kato one. Now I could use that today, but I'm cheap, and this is actually not as drastic as it sounds. If you've got the patience and a magnifier that you can use to see what you're doing, and a decent soldering iron, that helps also. This is not the end of the world. Not that hard to do. So we'll set this track aside because we don't need it right now. What we do need to do is pop out this track. So what we have here is a little rail joiner, and they're very easy to come out. All you do, let me see, that's the one's put together. Let me put this on here. Okay, so when you get them, if I can hook this up properly. Oh, here we go. Okay. Alright, so they just snap in. So what you would do in preparation for this is you're going to remove one of the rail joiners. Now, even if you were using the Kato stuff, you would have to do this anyway. So just a regular pair of needle nose pliers. These are just cheapos I picked up at a dollar store. Just grab it, firmly grasp the track, and then just give it a little tug. Now, Kato does make a special little do jigger, and I don't have it handy, but it's like this blue squarish shaped thing, and you can hook it on there and pop them off. But as you saw, as long as I don't go, manhandling it and trying and squeezing it and totally distorting it, it'll come off relatively easy. And they go back on pretty easy too, if you don't mess with it. But even now, when I'm going to solder this wire to it, it's not going to be drastic. So let me scoot in a little bit here so we can get a little bit closer to my work. So what we're going to do is we got to remove, let me see if I can get this up closer for you to see. Okay, this way, yes. Okay, so this little metal piece here, okay, that is actually the rail joiner. This is just a housing, if you will, that goes between the two sections of track, but this actually is what connects the two rails together. So what we're going to do is I got to remove this from the housing, flip it over, and you can see it a little bit better this way, is in this little section in here on the bottom side of it, that's where I have to solder the wire to make my power drop. And I know a lot of you out there are grasping at your chest saying, I can never do that. Listen, I didn't think I was when I first saw it. When I watched somebody on a YouTube video actually do it, and I was like, I could try that. So I got a box of 20 of these things, just in case. And I went ahead and did it. And you get better at it the more you do it. So what you got to do here is I just have a plain jeweler's flathead screwdriver. You can see, just a standard screwdriver, and get in between here and just pop it up. Sometimes it goes better. There, see, it just went. Okay, so that just popped right out for me. So I'll set that aside because I don't need that immediately. So what I'll do is I'll do the same thing over here. And sometimes it goes, sometimes you gotta, there it goes. Sometimes you have to get a different one. If it doesn't want to go, don't force it, okay? Your best bet, and I've done this before, I think I did it in the last video, I had to swap it out, and as long as you have, you don't have the other end hooked up to something, or you have spares laying around, move on, go to one that will pop out, because they don't always pop out for you the first try. Now, just excuse me a minute. It's early in the morning here when I'm recording this, so fairly early for most people anyway. So what I'm doing now that I have those ready, I have my wire. Okay, I'm using red and black. In this case, it doesn't really matter what colors you choose, as long as you have two different colors. Okay, so you can in theory say, okay, if I need to know that this one is positive, then I'll designate this color as positive, this color is negative. This is just how I am. I like red and black. Okay, that's how I always wire stuff, was using red and black for power. So what I'm going to do is, it's already been stripped, so you can see there's, let's see if I can show you. Okay, it's hard to see it, but there is a bit stripped off on this end, and again on this end. So, and I've done the same with the black wire. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tin it. Okay, and to tin it, what all that is you're putting solder on that. Now, you can use either stranded or solid wire. Solid wire is a lot easier, but because of what I'm doing today, it's not going to matter, because it's going to act like solid wire, meaning it's not going to be like all these frayed pieces going all over the place. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to dip it up to where the plastic is on both ends in this this flux. Okay, this is just a generic flush I picked up somewhere, probably at a hardware store, and so I'm going to do a little tricky operation here. So we're going to take this and try to get it into a place where everybody can see what's going on. Okay, so I've got my, let me bring the eyeballs down here. Okay, now I can see much better. Got my soldering iron, and this is a trigger soldering iron. It's 100 water. Yes, I know it's overkill. A lot of times, boy, this can be a pain. Really, I know you can probably get away with a 25 watt one, but I like to have the power, and this heats up really quick, and I don't have to worry about, oh, it's got to take an hour to cool off again. No. And when I squeeze the trigger, it's going. Okay, so here we go. You got to wait about 10 or 15 seconds or so for it to warm up. And once it does, ooh, excuse me, that's a coffee. I'm going to start tinning this. So I'm going to touch it, and you see a little bit of smoke. It's maybe not, but I'm touching this, and it's actually taking, because there's some solder that was left over on here, it's taking some of that too. I'm going to add some new solder to it, and you can probably see the smoke. Okay, so that actually helps make it to a solid wire. So we're going to do the same thing here on the other end while I still got the trigger pulled. And I can see it already tinned. But like I said, I want to add, I got some solder on here, so I'm hoping. There we go. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing with the black wire. We're going to prep it with a little bit of this flux. And it shouldn't take it long for the, there it goes. So it's all, I could see it already tinning it. Let's see if I can get a little bit of this extra solder to go on there. We'll do the same thing on the other end. So this is not super drastic. Okay, so now we've got that much done. We can raise this up out of the way. Alright, so what we're doing now is more or less the same type of thing, but we're going to do it to the actual connector. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to take one of these connectors. I'm going to find my bottom. Okay, so this is the top here. Here's your bottom part. I'm going to grab it with my, very gently, with this, my pliers. I take a toothpick. I'm going to dip it in here. And I'm going to put a little bit of flux right on the very, I want to say top, but it's actually, reality, it's the bottom. And so I'm going to get a little bit more on there. Actually can see a little bit. Okay, it's hard to see, but it is on there. So I'm going to just stick that back in there. Now, I'm going to need my little thing here. Alright, so what we're going to do, so this actually cooled off a little bit. It doesn't take long for it to cool off, but it goes. Alright, so that, I just touched it. Okay, now I had some solder already on the tip. Okay, and I don't know if you can see this. Let's put it in the light. There is, right here on the very end, a little glob, which is going to be just what we need. Okay, so I'm going to set that guy down. I'm going to pick up the other one. I find it, and that's the wrong end. Alright, that's it. Okay, so we're going to dip into our flux here. Pre-treat it with some flux, if I can hang on to this. Okay, a little bit extra. Okay, so we're done with that. Now, I'm going to hope we get the same results as we got with the first one. Yep, okay. So, got another little glob, as you can see there. It's not real big, but it's enough. So now comes the fun part. Now we have to solder the wire to this rail joiner. So the end I want to use, okay, so we're going to do the red one here first. And this is a bit long, okay, either end. So I just going to take this, I got to get my eyes here, and I'm going to trim it back. It's actually a little bit long. Yeah. Alright, that should be good. Now I'm going to take my pliers. I'm going to come with this, and I'm going to take that wire, I'm going to straighten it and bend it at like a 90-degree angle. Okay, so you can see, maybe you can see that, maybe not. But trust me, the wire is bent at like a 90-degree angle. And what I'm going to do, and like I said, this is the tricky part, And I'm going to see if we can zoom in for you. Let's see where you're at. Okay. Okay. So stand it up. Okay. So now this, like I said, is the tricky part because I got nothing really to hold this in place on, well, down here. If you have one of those helping hands, they're like a little jig that has alligator clips on it and stuff like that. Probably would be a good idea and a great investment to use. Again, too cheap. So it is what it is. I get my self lined up here. And now I'm going to wait till this is good and hot. I'm just going to lightly touch it. And just like that, abracadabra magically, we have a connection. Look at that. That's all there was to it. So we're going to do the same. Where's my... Oh, there they are. I had to find these guys. I'm going to trim this wire. I gotta see where it's at. So this black wire is roughly the same. Okay. I take my pliers here and give it a little bend. And now I gotta find this other guy. Oops. Stand him up. There you go. Okay, so now we're going to take the soldering gun and we're going to wait. Like I said, this doesn't take long, 10-15 seconds tops, and it's already at temperature. So we're going to, oh, there we go. See, now this one's not going to cooperate as well. Okay, but I did get a connection. Okay, it's not pretty, but it worked. Okay, so what's the steps now? So let's take this back out. We don't need to be in that close with it. Okay, so let's take this red one. Alright, so we're done with this soldering gun. Set it up out of the way where it can cool down. And we're done with this wire. So, very simply, you've got 3 holes here. Okay, I know this, you might be able to see it. You got your main piece here in the middle. Then there's two little openings on either side of your main opening. So if you go over too far to the left or the right, you can actually fish it down through one of those and it will still work, because I've done it already. And it looks like I'm going to have to do that today with this black one. I'm not sure about the red one yet, but that's fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed this. As you can see, here's your main one. Okay, maybe I'll get the closer view. Okay, so here's your main one here. Let me go over a little bit there. Okay, so there's your main one, and here's your 2 outer ones. So I'm going to go down through this outer one and just feed it in. Okay, and now what you need to do is just to snap this back in place. Now, it sometimes will go easier than other times, but generally it should go fairly easy. Okay, so this is giving me a little bit of a hard time. That's why we have pliers. Yeah, you hear that little snap there? And that snapped it right back into place. So now I have my feeder wire and it's ready to go. So now I'm going to take the red one. I'm going to look at it. Now that one is, I might be able to go through the middle with that. We'll see. We're going to try it. So we're going to try to go through the middle with this one and see how it works. I think it might be just fine. Yep. See, I didn't need the pliers for this one, although I will in the front a little bit. There we go. So that one just went back into place. Easy as pie. So now what do? Well, looking at our module, let me go back to the other view. Okay, so we'll take our module here and where you can see it. So what we'll wind up doing here is this is the short piece, your 020 rather, and this is the 010. When you have these wired on a T-track, okay, so if you're doing this to come out to the edge here for hooking on in a setting for what do you want to call it? A club or a display layout, it would be blue, white, white, blue. That's if you're using the Kato stuff. I don't know how they designate power. If they think blue is red, or blue is positive and white's negative, or the other way around, I don't know. That's just how they say to do it. But since this isn't powering or getting power or from another module, or so to speak, it's an enclosed thing, it doesn't matter. But I like putting the black on the inside, so that's what we're going to do here, and it's just a matter of pushing it in, and then I get the red one, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'll line her up here and snaps right in. And of course, so now we have to hook these two together. Just line up the tracks in. Voila. And that's all there is to it. So now we've made a power drop. Okay. Or, like I said, if you make these wires longer, that they go at the end of the module, you could hook them directly into, one of these little boxes for powering. It takes power from the next module or from a bus line. You can do it for a variety of things. But like I said, this is going to be what I'm going to use it for, maybe, is powering something on this mystery module. So what I would do is just drop these down through the hole, and then it's just going to be a matter of gluing it in. So now you can use these holes. There are, I don't remember the number, but there is a screw that will go up inside. Let me see if I can show you this. On these two little posts here, these align perfectly. If you follow these where these go, these do align with them, and you can use the screws to hold your track in place. I've done that. It's mixed results for me. I might even have the wrong size screws, and why I kind of gave up on them. But I had read somewhere that they were the right size screws, but it could be wrong. It's the internet. Go figure. So anyway, my simple solution is the good old Gorilla. Well, this isn't Gorilla. This is Loctite, but any super glue that you're comfortable with using. So what I will do is I will take my little alignment tools, which I have right here, and go in. Now I have put the other track together here, which I have handy, and they just snap together, and I will follow the directions where they go. I mean, it doesn't matter for the other track because it's on the inside, and it's not being powered, or taking power I should say, but that's all there is to that. So what you do now is take your good old painter's tape. Okay, so I have these set in place. Okay, they're not going anywhere, or shouldn't be going anywhere. And I gotta find where the break is on this. Not always the, oh, I think I found it. Yep, I sure did. Okay, so I'm gonna take, and I'm gonna take my scissors, and I'm gonna cut 2 strips. Okay, there's number 1. About a foot long-ish. And I'm going to set this aside. And now I'm going to come right here. I don't want to go too far. Now I just got to make sure everybody's secured and in place. And I'm going to come across here. And this will help hold the track in place while I glue it. And you know the old adage, measure twice and cut once? Well, I just make sure that my track is secured and my tape is secured, which it was not at that point. Okay, so let me try this again. The tape doesn't want to cooperate. There we go. Okay, so that's just going to hold that in place. Now in theory I should be able to take these off, and just eyeballing it, I feel I have a good, it's good to go. So that's basically all there is to it. What I will do now is I will come in and I'll just take this super glue, I'll glue these in place, and I'll hook this up to one of my other modules and test it for, you know, how it clamps together, how it lets go and stuff like that, which it should be pretty good. And then we're ready to move on to the actual scenery and stuff like that. So like I said, this power drop that I put in today may or may not be used. I have some things in the works. I'm doing a couple of special effects, or at least one, maybe 2. I have a particular model on order. I'm hoping to get in the next week or 2. And once it gets here, you'll understand what I'm doing. I don't want to give it away just yet, but there will be, trust me, you're going to be surprised at what direction we're going with this build and what special effects I'm actually looking at getting and doing with this. It's going to be, one of the things is going to be something for sure I've never done, never tried before. So I'm hoping that it turns out the way I've seen it done. And if it does, this module will be hard to top. Okay. But that being said, please like, share, subscribe, and go over to Klawndyke's channel. You know, He's got a lot of stuff. Some you'll see some of my builds on there. A lot of other great material that he has from other guys. But definitely go check him out. And go check out his website. You know, that's where this module came from. And he's got plenty more and a wide variety of them, as you've seen in some of my videos. But that's going to be what this build is going to be, is still a mystery. Let's put it that way. And I have plans for another single module. I forget what it's technically what it's called. When I order it, I'll know. But I don't remember exactly. I could see it in my head, but I don't remember what it's called. And I don't want to give it away. I don't want to tell you the wrong name. Okay. So with that being said, I will catch you guys the next time, and hopefully at that time we'll have the model, in my hands, and I'll be able to reveal a little bit more of where I'm going and what I'm doing. So with that, I'll see you guys later, and you have a great day.